Hi again and welcome back. In this video, I want to show you how to get into MyOpenMath, create your account, and navigate in that system. So this is our free online homework system. I know there are a lot of websites we're using, but they're all free. So I hope that helps, and they're all linked up here, and they're also in each module. I'm going to click on this MyOpenMath tab. It's also in each module, or you can go to myopenmath.com. Okay, oops, I need to log out. Okay, so if you're the first time you're going to this page, it would look like this. And if you've never used it before, then you want to click on register as a new student. And just like creating any online account, it asks for a username and a password. Make it something you can remember because we will be, or write it down, because we will be taking our test this way, and the proctored tests will be using this system for that. I'll explain more when that gets closer. And then you need the course ID and enrollment key from the syllabus. So look in the syllabus for this term and put in that information, and then click sign up. I also recommend using your MyPCC email address just to keep everything for school going to your school email. Okay, next, so once you do that, I'm not going to do it because I already have an account, then you can log in right here. And if you already have an account from a previous class, then you can go ahead and log in first. If you need to, restore your password or get your username, go ahead and do that, and then log in. And so if you have used this for a previous class, you need to join our class. So on the left is the classes you've taken. You can see I've used this for a lot of terms, so I have a ton of classes here, but you would go to the very bottom on the left and click on enroll in a new class. And then you can make sure that one's at the top if you want to by changing course order. Okay, and then it will ask you for the class ID and enrollment key when you do that process. Okay, so for all students, once you get to into our class, you should see the link up here, and then you're going to click on that. And then the modules are these little folders, multicolored folders here. So you can see welcome, and then one for each module per week. And you have navigation both across the top and on the left side. So mostly you'll be using course, the forums, and the gradebook to check your scores. Make sure you've done everything. And then it also has left. I have a few extra things. I'm an instructor. Okay, so in this first tab or folder, you can either click on the title or the triangle, and that will expand it. This has just a welcome, course description, and a link to tutoring and the textbook. So those are right there for you. Then in module 1, we have our orientation. That's what we're going to work on in this video. And then we also have the forum. I'll explain how those work. And then we have each week, we have usually 2, but maybe 1 homework assignments. Okay, so let's work on the orientation. Okay, so this is an example of a true-false question. I have created an account and I'm logged into MyOpenMath. Well, of course, I have to be seeing this question. So I'm going to hit true and submit, and you see it turns green. Okay, so you can either go next question or right arrow, or you can navigate this way. Okay, this is an example of a multiple choice question. When there's a circle, there's only one right answer. Okay, now I want to show you what happens if I get it wrong. So I'm going to pick a wrong answer, and you can see it turns red, the light red. But you have unlimited tries for every question. So then you would try again until you get it right. Green. Okay, a multiple answer question is like multiple choice, but there can be multiple right answers. So for example, right, and this one's right, but I want to show you what happens if I get it partly right. It's yellow, so it's got a green, yellow, red system. Okay, so if I got it partially right, then I've got to figure out, okay, which ones of these are right and which ones are wrong. These can be kind of frustrating because there's so many possibilities. But I'm going to, this one, there's two right things. Let's say you get stuck though. There's this link at the bottom called Post to Forum, and I'm going to show you what that means in just a second, how that works. Question 4 is an example of matching. So here I would pick A, B, C, or D. It goes with yes. For this orientation, we've just used a lot of different languages, so I hope you see some words that are familiar to you or you recognize there, depending on how many languages you speak. Okay, so do that one. Question 5 is an example of like fill in the blank, where you would have to have a word answer. So for this one, it's also helping you find your textbook. So it's saying go online, do the online textbook, or open up the physical book, if you have it, to section 1.3. The answer to this question is the first word of the title. Okay, on that. Question 6 is an example of a multi-part question and also how to get help. So if I scroll down, I can see there's different parts to this question. There's a fill in the blank, there's a select all the right answers, and there's a matching. So I could do the whole thing and then hit submit, but since you have unlimited tries, you could also do the first part and submit it, then the second part and submit it. Now that can be handy if the second answer is dependent on the first one, which often is the case in statistics. Let's say it asks you for the mean and then the standard deviation. You might want to make sure you have the mean right first before you do the standard deviation. So there's no harm in hitting submit after each part if you prefer to do that. Okay, so this one says, look in the forum for the correct answer. If nobody has posted it yet, please post this question. So the forums are a really great help feature. And at the bottom of every question, you'll see this link, post to forum. So when I click on that, it puts the question right into a message. And this is great because most of the questions are randomized. So everyone has different numbers or different random elements to the question. And that allows us to help each other, but each person still gets to do their own question. So what you would do, let's say you get stuck on one, and this one you have to post, or somebody has to post to the forum to get the answer. So you would type your question up here. Let's say it's a statistics question, not the orientation. You would say something like, I've tried this and it's not working. Can anybody help me? Or you could say, I'm not sure what this question is asking. Can you clarify what this word means? Please type something so we know what your question is or what you've tried. If you just leave it blank or just say help, then we don't really know how to help you. So it's especially good if you can write what you've tried, because then we can more easily find what the misconception might be. So for this one, you would post and say, this said to post this question. Can you please tell me what the answer is? Something like that. And then I will reply with the answer. And then anyone after that point can see it. So this is such a great system because you can help each other. It might be the weekend when I'm not online, or it might be Monday at 10 o'clock, before the online homework is due. Many students might be online, but I might not be. So you can help each other as well. Okay? And I check the forums every day, so I also try to reply to those very quickly, every weekday. So I gotta keep my boundaries. So during the weekdays, I will check those. And occasionally, if I'm on the weekend, I will too. Okay, so then you would click on post thread. I think these are just defaults that you can use. No problem there. So I'm not going to post that right now. I'm just going to go back to this question. So please do use the forums. They are really, really helpful. And The wonderful thing is, if you have a question, I'm sure somebody else has the same question. And so you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping the whole class. I do not have an anonymous option for this because when someone posts, I really need to see, I can go in and see what your, what the correct answer is, what the computer says your correct answer is. That way I can tell if sometimes you think, well, is it a computer glitch or am I doing something wrong? So if I can go in the back end, I can tell if there's an issue with the question or if it's something you're doing. So that's really important. And the anonymous just hasn't worked very well in the past. So that's why I don't have it anonymous, but there's no judgment whatsoever for asking a question. Okay, so let's see, let's go to the next question. Now we're getting into entering some numbers. So here's one where we're going to enter fractions. There's a couple different ways to do it. You can click on this little fraction symbol here, and the top one we're just going to enter the fraction as it is written. And I'm using the mouse to navigate, but you can also use the arrow keys. I'm going to go ahead and submit that one. Great, now enter 10 out of 30 in reduced form. Do it this same way, or I can not use that and just type in the numbers with a slash. So let's see, we need to reduce this first. So 10 and 30 have what number in common? And this explains up here. We want a little refresher too. 10 and 30 have 10 in common, right? So we divide 10 out of each one. So 10 goes into 10 one time. And this one I'm going to use the slash for division, and you can see it automatically puts it in a fraction. And then 10 goes into 30 3 times. So that would be the same as third. And I can also just hit the enter key versus submit button. Okay, so just pay attention in every question to how do they want the question entered, and does it, like, if it's a fraction, does it need to be reduced or not? If it's a decimal, how many decimal places do we need? Here's a rounding one. Enter the number 3.0205 below. So this one doesn't want us to change it at all. And then this one wants us to round to the nearest hundredth. So it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So nearest hundredth would be the second digit. We would round that number. I don't think these are randomized, so I want to let you try that yourself. Question 9 talks about late passes. So this is a really great feature of this homework system. You can give yourself your own extension. Go back out and do this. Course gets you back to this page. Home takes you out to all of your classes. So we use course, not home. Let's say hold on, let me pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to show you. So I went back to course, and just back in module 1 here, I wanted to show you by each assignment there should be LP or late pass, and it should be allowed on all homework assignments. So let's say you know something's coming up and you might need a little extra time. You can click on this late pass either before the deadline or after the deadline, and it extends your deadline by 1 week. Okay, so please feel free to use those. You have 5 late passes, and it's really great because let's say you want to do it on the weekend or an evening and I'm not around, you've lost access and it's outside of business hours, then you can give yourself your own extension. So I really appreciate this feature. You're always welcome to let me know how you're doing, but you don't have to contact me when you're using one of these late passes. If it's a graded assignment or something like that, then that's more where you're asking for an extension. So please do email me for those. If you run out and you need a couple more, I would be happy to do that. So just let me know. And then let's go back to our presentation. And see here, it remembers what we've done, and you can also skip around and tell you. Let's see. Gotta go back to where I was. We're on number 9. Okay, so this is just some questions about the late passes. So our class does use late passes, and they can be used either before or after the due date, and there is no penalty for using pass. Okay, really love this feature. And then question 10 is about review mode. Let's say you've already gone and done all your homework, but then you want to practice, like the test is coming up, or you just want to refresh weekly. This is a really great feature of the system, because you can, once it's in review mode, which is after the due date and after any late passes have expired for that one, then you can do the questions again, and even if you get them wrong, it's not going to lower your score. Okay, so if you are still trying to do the homework, like let's say you need an extension, make sure you apply that late pass first, otherwise you won't get credit for it, because in review mode, no scores will be saved. But this is a really nice feature. So here's a couple questions about that and more information. Okay, so you can see you can skip around, and you want to make sure you've got 1 out of 1 for every question by the time you're done. The other thing about this system is there's no submit button at the end. Every question is recorded individually. So once I get to question 10, there's nothing else that I need to do. I just need to make sure I've done all the questions. And then another way to check, back to course, you will see it. Let me see if I can change student view. Yeah, in student view, you see these little circles. And when I hover over it, it'll tell me I've got 40% right now. I'm not done yet. So this tells me I've started it, and here I haven't started it because it's not colored in at all. So when this is a solid circle, then I know it's done. And then you can also click on Gradebook, and I'm not a student, so it won't let me do that. But when you click on Gradebook, you will see a list of all these assignments, like orientation, 1-1, 1-2, and then you'll see your score. So you want to make sure you've got 100% on everything that we've gone through so far. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I want to show you. Oh, here's the forum. So this is another way to get to the forum. Now, no posts have been made yet, but hopefully someone's going to ask that question 6 very soon. So let's say you're stuck on a question, and you might want to see, well, has anyone else asked about this question? So then you can also use the forums at the top, and then go to the particular week you're looking in, week or module you're looking in. There will be a new in red if there's new posts that you haven't read yet, or maybe there's a bunch of them. If you haven't been following them, you can click on, and it'll have the question number in the title. That's why it's really important to use the post to forum link, because it populates the subject line and puts the question number right in it. Now let's say you have a question and you go to post it to forum, and it'll tell you that someone has already posted about that question. So then don't make a different post. Go to click on forums, either here or in the module, and then go find that link, find that thread for that particular question. I'll say, number 7 or whatever. And then you can read through and see, okay, maybe this will help me. And if not, let's say you have a different question or you're still stuck, then you can just add on to that thread. So everything about one particular question is all in that thread. That is really, really helpful, because the question you ask can help somebody else. Okay, so that's about the forums. And anything else? So we just have, you can close a module when you're done with it. So these are all going to be very similar. Forum is usually first, and then the assignment for that week. And then our midterm and final week are a little bit different. There's still a forum, and then there's a bonus review. There's some extra credit review problems. And then you'll see, I'll talk more about this as it gets closer. You will see that the actual test will be below here when it's open, when it's available. And then same for module 11. Okay, well, I hope that helps you get started. Be sure to do that orientation and get 100% on that. Then after you watch the videos and take notes, and then do the CYU quizzes, check your understanding quizzes, and the worksheets, then you can test your knowledge with this homework right here. Okay, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all or get stuck on anything, and I look forward to working with you this term.